All right, so we're on. Hi, Carmen, and welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for popping in. And welcome to those of you watching us here. As I mentioned in my last interview with Kylie Ray from Nature and Nosh, this is something new for Soda. We thought since we're all in lockdown, it would be a great opportunity to try something new. So I'm Kyra, the Soda Comms and Events Coordinator, and one of my main focuses is the NZ Startup Bootcamp, which a lot of you will know has had to be postponed. But before that, we had Carmen Vicelich, founder of and CEO of both Valocity Global and Data Insight, lined up as a judge. So we thought, why not catch up with her anyway? Carmen is not your typical anything, a powerhouse entrepreneur who has built two multi-million-dollar international data and technology businesses in just 5 years, at the same time as balancing life as a wife and mother of 4 young children. She was named a finalist in the 2016 and 2019 Women of Influence Awards and won the Auckland University Business School's Entrepreneurs Challenge Award in 2015. She has also been a finalist in the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. In 2019, Carmen, one of Carmen's businesses, Valocity, was recognised as one of 5 finalists in the Global General category at the Global Fintech Awards in Singapore, as well as a finalist for the Fintech Hackcelerator. And they also won International Fintech Start of the Year in November on stage in Mumbai. Carmen is also a published author, having launched The Data Revolution in late 2017. It's so nice to have you here, Carmen. To kick us off, I wondered if you could tell me, was there a certain moment or point that triggered you to leave the corporate world and jump into your own business?
I think it was several things. I had been in the same role for 10 years and had my 4 babies along the way there. So, just kind of took stock on the 10-year anniversary. And when I looked around the market, no one was doing what I wanted to be doing with data and technology. And I just thought there were so many opportunities to do it better. And so while I didn't know exactly what it looked like, I just had this gut feeling that it was really my time now to start another journey as another baby, for having finished having 4 real babies, and to go down that journey. So it was really, having the headspace and the right time in my life to do that, which I suppose is a good lesson. There's no perfect time, but there can be the right time.
Awesome. So did you go cold turkey, or did you sort of start it as a side hustle before you left the whole corporate world?
No, I totally went cold turkey. So I left the company that I was at and said I'm going to do what I've always done, and I'm going to go and actually, I guess, explore the market and see what the opportunities were. I could see some things that were really broken where I was in meetings with opportunities and coming back around these opportunities and having my current employer go, well, no, that's not what we do. That's not what, we don't do that. We're not going to solve that problem. So that really drove me to go and say, well, actually, just because that's the way it's always been done doesn't mean that's right, and there's a better way to do this. And that's what really was my underlying driver. But I didn't actually start anything until I left, and I was very lucky with no team and no data, and not knowing exactly how it was going to look, to have such a supporting husband that kind of believed in me and said, okay, well, I'm sure whatever you do, it'll be a success. Really started, and I guess, one of my first lessons was being the company that I'd worked for didn't like me going off and starting on my own, and I didn't realize the lengths that a rather big global monopoly would go to stop me from starting. So learned a lot about resilience and grit, and I guess fairness, if you like, and was really passionate. So after a 10-month battle, I was able to start and got a public apology. But that was kind of a lesson that I didn't expect to get before I started my business.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine anyone expecting that to happen. Can you give us any more insights around that time and that transition and how it all worked?
Well, I guess, yeah, there's lots of, businesses that can try and stop a competitor from starting. And, we went through court and, I signed a non-disclosure, but I can share that I got a public apology and accepted a payment. So I guess, the lesson is, you have to do what's right for you with your values. And so the most challenging thing was saying, well, actually, it would have been very easy at that stage to accept a corporate job. I was the income earner with 4 children, and I couldn't start. And I was embarking on a very ambitious goal, particularly to transform the mortgage valuation process, when the key decision maker is the chief risk officer. And I was considering being a startup that no one had used, and this was going to be driving decisions for billions of dollars every day. So the barrier to market and barrier to entry, we could say, was quite high. And so at the same time, I didn't do a raise or anything to fund myself. So it was certainly very challenging. And there were many moments when I was going through that battle to say, actually, would it be easier to just not do this and actually then just get a job and move on? But it made me more angry to say, well, why shouldn't I be allowed to do this? And, I guess the success was mine in the end through persevering through that difficult period. And then we launched Data Insight almost 7 years ago to the day, 1st of April. And, it was a tremendous success. And then Valocity I launched after that. So, the success has been amazing.
No, that's really cool. In hindsight, I mean, I'm not sure after that story you would definitely change anything at all, but I mean, in hindsight, would you have started anything differently?
No, I think hindsight vision is an interesting way to do it. And maybe, you could say in hindsight, maybe you should have done things covertly and not have been so transparent around what you're going to do. But I think the kind of key lesson is your values are your values, and they're what grounds you. So while it might have been unforeseen circumstances and you kind of thought, well, actually, maybe I should have just said, well, I'm going to look around and look for a job and not say I'm going to start something to do what I've always been passionate about. I think hindsight vision, when you're going through difficult periods in life, the one thing that can ground you, and especially as a business person, is your values and what are you willing to compromise and what are you not. And if you're very, very absolute about what you're not willing to compromise, that is an inner strength and an inner grit to go, actually, this is the right thing, and it's actually going to prove to be okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. So as you said just before, Data Insight came first. Can you tell me a little bit of how that led you to Valocity Global and how the two complement each other?
Sure. Well, to start with, because I had no data and no technology platform and no models and no valuers to use what Valocity does, I needed to get income really, really quickly. And I recognized, that there's lots of businesses that have lots of data but no insights. So I started shoulder tapping a dream team. And I guess that's one of the key lessons, that if you're going to do something, anything in business, you really want the best people. And I started shoulder tapping the best people that I knew. And we started to acquire and try and get access to property data to build Valocity. But at the same time, I needed to fund myself. So to do that, I had launched Data Insight, and we started working with the large corporates that had lots of data but no insights, and said, well, we know you're doing this property thing over here, but can your team come and help us? And from there, from proving ourselves and showing what we could do, we grew really rapidly and organically with word of mouth. So we work for, and still do today, the largest telcos, the largest supermarket chains, all the banks, all the insurers, and just really government, anyone that has lots of data and wants to work with data that actually wants to make data-driven decisions. So it's a huge opportunity, because I think it's something that still today many businesses are grappling with lots and lots of data and noise and reporting and things, but actually no actionable insights, and we make it very simple. And then at the same time, we were building Valocity. And there were also lessons learned along the way there. I was going to partner with somebody in Australia. They were going to build the platform and I was going to just sell it. And when I started asking them, show me how it looks, show me what you've got, long story short, they were outsourcing it to India and they had nothing. The India team let them down. So I was at ground zero, and didn't realize that they, were being strung along. So I then, not want to give up, plan B, I went on LinkedIn and I found a business in America, and I thought, well, you want to be global, you've got this. This is what I want. I could see exactly what I needed and what the problem was that I was solving. You can build this for me. So I flew all the way over there and then drew on the whiteboard like a mad person for a week. And they were sizing it, and they came back and said, oh, it's going to take 2 years. And I thought, well, we don't have 2 years for this. I'm paying a mortgage. I've got 4 kids. I don't have 2 years. And so I decided, I should say, Christmas was cancelled and we would build this ourselves. And my poor lead developer at the time, I'm like, we'll shoulder tap and we're just doing this ourselves. So it was kind of third time lucky. But today, that is our best differentiator. The fact that we actually are so agile, it's customizable, it's modular. So what seemed like the worst thing at the time, that, first incident, then the second, and then the third, it wasn't our plan. And I guess the lesson is also it's a very wiggly path to success, but it was the best thing. And now, that's our strongest actually point. So Valocity is very, very flexible. And we have all our dev 100% in-house. So we were building Valocity and we won our first client as we launched it. So it was a dream come true. They've been an incredible partner all the way through. And so then we realized, well, Valocity is more of a business itself because it's very bespoke for lending and insurance, and it only works in that property sector, whereas data insight works digital, with media, with food stuff. So it was much harder to explain the two, and so I unbolted them, and they still work very closely together because banks still need data and insights, and data insight works in much broader verticals.
Oh, cool. That's really awesome. So you've sort of talked a little bit about your customers already, but who would you say are your most valuable customers?
So definitely the banks. So we're a B2B enterprise solution. So we work very closely with banks, and I would say definitely innovative bank. So, there's lots of different banks in the world, and they compete quite heavily. And we are definitely working with global thought leaders, banks like ING, so the leading banks in India, and certainly the leading banks in New Zealand.
Awesome. So were they your target market when you first started, or has that changed over time? Who is your target market now?
No, it was, we were very focused about what we were building and what problem we're solving. And I think that's a really important lesson for startups or businesses, because there's so many things you can do. And very much the Kiwi attitude is to go, well, actually I could diversify this, I'll diversify for that. And I think there's two things. You need to, if you are, depending on your level of experience, you should stick to what you know, and where your strengths are. And I know B2B and corporates and working with banks, I've done that for many, many, many years. So I'm playing to my strengths there, as opposed to trying to do a B2C, which is not my experience. Of course, I could hire someone for that, but if I'm driving the strategy, it's good to drive the strategy of what you know. If you're charting the ship, maybe you should sail a boat that you're used to and not a new one. But then the second thing is also actually you need to really, really, really understand what problem you're solving and how you're going to do that better than anybody else. And if your problem is too broad, or you don't have your unique selling proposition, you're not going to be successful. Because when you're building the solution for whatever problem you're going to solve, you need that customer in the room. You need them to be telling you as much as they can about that problem. And that's why we've been so successful. It's because we've collaborated so closely with our banking clients. They're the reason why our platform is as good as it is, because we've had them in the room saying, well, no, that's not going to work. This is how we do it. Or no, actually, we need to do this. And then we challenge them and going, well, just because you always did it that way, why? What about if we do it this way? And that collaboration is incredibly powerful, because it means you're just solving their problem. So you don't really have to sell it, because that's great. They have this problem and you're solving that problem for them. And that's, I think, what drives success.
Yeah, definitely. That's perfect. So I wanted to ask, what is the one thing that you find most difficult or challenging with running these types of businesses?
I guess I've got two businesses, and certainly Valocity is in lots of different locations now. And I mean, the most challenging thing is you have to recognize, especially if you're a control freak like me, you have to learn to delegate, and you have to recognize you can't do all the things that you used to do. So what I used to do last year will change to what I am doing next year. So as a leader, it's really recognizing that if you are wanting to build a growth, scalable business, then you have to bring your people behind you, and you have to build leaders, and you have to delegate, because there's not enough hours in the day. So that's been a big learning, and there's always a big challenge, not enough hours in the day. What's most important? What do I say yes to? And importantly, what do we say no to, so that we're focused and we execute? And we call that strategic innovation with disciplined execution. And if we focus on those two things, then we'll be guided in the right direction.
Cool. So how do you measure success and over what time frame?
I think that's an interesting one because I think, when you're growing a business, your paradigms shift and your success, your success milestones do change. And it's different actually in both businesses. But one of my biggest measures of success gives me the most gratification is two things, but both centered around people. Watching my people grow, and I've had people that have been with me in Data Insight for 5, 6, 7 years, and I've now actually just announced I'm stepping into a chairman of the board role and appointed someone that's been with me for a long time as CEO to run that, and also two of my team there that have been with me for a very long time as well. That they're recognizing them and allowing people to step up and leaving the gap so they can step up. So that's so rewarding, and seeing that in Valocity as well, the people that have been with me for many, many years and seeing them grow as the business does is so rewarding. The other success factor for us is our clients. We always say their success is ours and our success is theirs. And we know when they use Valocity, they deliver a better customer experience. They make people's lives easier. They make the home buying process easier and more seamless, and they make it easier for the entire ecosystem because of us. And that's a huge success measure for us. And I guess lastly, it's, we're a very ambitious company, so we want to be all that we can be. And we're incredibly proud to take Kiwi tech to the world stage. So it's very surreal standing on stage in Singapore, and you were from little old New Zealand and telling your story. It's surreal to be standing on stage in Mumbai, and they announced the Fintech Startup of the Year with all these global businesses and all these incredible Indian tech companies, and here is a blonde female from New Zealand taking the award. It's just incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really inspiring. Sorry, did I catch that right? Are you stepping down from being CEO?
For Data Insight, not from Valocity. So I'm stepping up into a chairman role for Data Insight and still supporting them and involved with key clients and with strategy. But I've appointed one of my team who was GM is now CEO, and I'm remaining the global CEO of Valocity. But until the lockdown, I spent a lot of time on planes. So we're spending a lot of time in India, in Singapore, and Australia as we're growing globally. In New Zealand, Valocity's got the most brokers, lenders, valuers, and consumers connected to our platform. So it's incredible to see the success we've had, having come from nowhere, and now we're really focused on scaling globally. So that's the key focus.
Oh, wow. So that must be quite a big change for you. Are you excited about that?
Oh yeah, that's not such a big change because Claire's really been doing Data Insight and running that business. So we're in the same building. Downstairs is Data Insight, Valocity's upstairs. So she's been running that team for a while. So it's not a big change, and I've been guiding the strategy for that. And I guess I've got two very much growing, accelerating businesses. So to allow each of them to grow as much as they can, I have to recognise I can't be driving the ship on two different boats.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Sorry, I went a little bit off course there. So what has been your biggest challenge in the last 12 months, excluding COVID-19, and what did you learn from it?
I guess, it's funny that you asked that because, I don't think we've had a tremendous year actually, and, just really gone from strength to strength. So, there's always little challenges, but I think that we look at them and go, actually, well, what's plan B, what's plan C, and we like deal with them and bulldoze through really quickly. And it's very much our can-do culture and very much our values around better never stops. And okay, well, that happened. How do we make that better? So things still happen. So I'm hard to say what was our most challenging thing. I mean, I guess it's always challenging when things get delayed. So that's definitely a challenge. They don't happen as fast as you want them to. When we're working with banks and corporates and large scale enterprise deals, and there's security onboarding so things, you always, as an entrepreneur, I think you always wanted to go faster. But yeah, we've had an incredible year actually.
Oh, that's really good to hear. So obviously COVID-19 is going to have a massive impact on many industries. Can I ask how it's impacted both of your businesses?
So Data Insight is busier than ever, and a lot of businesses are really, really more so than ever at this time wanting to make data-driven decisions. So that's doing very well, and we expect to continue so. So, you know, you don't want to be making, and you've got to make decisions quickly, and you're in such an unknown period. Any data points you can look at will be incredibly valuable to make the best decision, particularly for your customers. So understanding which of those work in industries that are affected, and having different conversations with those and others that are okay, as well as, you know, continuing to still operate. And there's also a lot of evidence that businesses that continue with their marketing, instead of going to ground and cancelling it, come out better off, and there's lots of cases on that. So we're seeing continued work levels there. Valocity is slightly different. We're obviously very much tied to the property market. So, you know, a slowdown in housing sales is directly affects us. But by the same token, banks still need to support their customers for refinancing. So valuations are still an important part. And what we've done is we've actually been very creatively innovative. And in the last 10 days since it's been announced, we've brought to New Zealand and Australia a solution that we have in India that we know for some loans, a valuer has to go to the property and do an inspection inside your house. But I don't think, fair to say, anytime soon, anybody's going to want someone wandering through their property and their home based on, I guess, our concerns at the moment, and rightly so. So what we've created is an incredible app that the valuer sends it to the home or property occupier, so it can be used for rental appraisals. They'll get the app, they download it, and then they've got an intuitive template to take photos of the bedroom, the bathroom, upload any plans, click to share. It comes back to the valuer, so it's all seamless and easy, much easier than having to email big photo files. And you know, that makes it faster and better, and still enables the continuity of banking, which is so important at a time like this when people need refinancing, but also solves that problem that no one has to come in your home or for your rental inspection or whatever it is. So we've just launched that and been hustling, I guess, behind the scenes to accelerate the delivery of that.
Yeah, that's so cool. Really innovative.
Thank you.
So what's the plans for when the lockdown lifts? Will it be business as usual?
I don't think it will be business as usual for anybody, I think, actually. I mean, it's obviously hard to say. No one knows what the future brings. But I think, you know, we have to think of this time as an opportunity to accelerate the adoption of digital, because we can see the importance of those that had businesses online, those that were connected digitally, those that could work remotely, and the continuity of business that brings, and the power of that. I mean, we called it quite early to work from home, and it was just totally seamless. I've got over 100 staff in both businesses, and we're in lockdown in 3 countries, and you know, we've just all been able to work totally seamlessly. So I think the way people work, you know, a lot of companies have to play catch up with that. I also think, you know, we do have the opportunity to create new behaviours that make more sense because they're more seamless and digital. So I think we're going to see a rapid adoption, and once you're in these habits, you'll continue. So, you know, hopefully things like the app that I've just talked about. Why do we have people coming into our homes? Why do we have to make an appointment and wait to let someone in the middle of the day when we can actually do that all digitally?
Yeah. Fair enough. That's really cool. Thank you. So lastly, when you answered my questions for our pre-bootcamp blog, you said you spoke 3 languages, but you didn't tell us which 3. So English is obviously number 1, but can I ask you what the other 2 were?
Oh yeah, one of them is quite boring. I'm born in South Africa, so I speak Afrikaans, and the otherwise I've lived in Argentina, so I speak Spanish.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. How long did you live in Argentina for?
I did an exchange when I was 17, and it stayed with me. I think, yeah, I'm quite lucky. But it's hard to always answer those questions when you say, tell us something that no one will know.
Yeah, we all sort of read it and went, oh, what's 3? So sort of quickly ask. Oh, thank you so much for popping in to see me and chat with me on this, Carmen. It was really nice to have this talk with you, and we hope to get some reach from it. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope the lockdown period goes really well for you.
Thank you for having me, and well done to you for all the awesome work you're doing for startup boot camps. I think, you know, when you're going into the unknown, as much advice or support you can get from people that have gone there before that can help you, you know, miss those pitfalls or accelerate and get the shortcuts is so, so valuable. So congrats on all the good work you guys are doing.
Thank you. All right, we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye.
Ciao.